Do you think that the Chinoys make successful business owners? Do you expect people with Chinese blood to be more business minded? Is it even true that Chinese are good in business? Now, listen closely because in this episode, we will be talking about the first part of the series, three things we can learn from successful Chinoy business owners. And for part one, let's talk first about the Chinese and the Chinoys. The news channels sometimes confuse these two terms in their news reports, such that even us, we get confused. So, to clarify, let's learn to use the right terms to be politically correct, okay? Now, for those who were born in China and are Chinese citizens, let's call them Chinese nationals or Chinese. Then what are Chinoys, Mami N? Well, I researched it and I saw this in this dictionary. A Chinoy is also called a Chinese Filipino, a Filipino with a Chinese descent, whether mixed or pure ethnic Chinese. This means that if you're a Filipino with Chinese blood, whether both of your parents are Chinese or not, you're a Chinoy. Both of my grandfathers were from China, and both my grandmothers were Filipinas. Same with my husband. And so, both our parents were Chinoys. We are also Chinoys, and our kids are Chinoys. Does the distinction between Chinese and Chinoy now make sense to you? Yes? Good. So, those who are born here, like us, are Chinoys, and any Pinoy with a Chinese surname is clearly a Chinoy. So that we can understand the Chinoys, I'd like to talk about the original Chinese grandfathers that we had. My goal is to let you appreciate how much alike and different our grandfathers were from the modern day OFWs. Before we talk about the traits of the Chinoys that make them successful in business, let's backtrack to history a bit. Our grandfathers came to the Philippines around the year 1900s, and that's about 120 years ago. Actually, history traces the migration of the Chinese to the Philippines to have started earlier. History books even traced Rizal's grandfather as Chinese. Anyway, I'd like to talk about my grandfather so we can understand why. Now, in the 1900s, many Chinese in China were addicted to opium. The Chinese government was weakened by the manipulation of other nations like the British and the Japanese. And as a result, the government officials were very corrupt. Roads were not built. Government services were not provided. Does it sound familiar? Three things made it worse for China compared to the Philippines. One, they had winters. We don't. And during the winters, people literally died from the extreme cold because they were too poor to buy fuel like firewood, etc. Now, in the Philippines, we are lucky because our rainy season is short and tolerable. Second, because the government was corrupt, there was no public school system. Only the rich could go to school. So most Chinese then were illiterate. And third, in the province of Fujian, where most Chinese came from, the land was clayish. Nothing would grow even if people planted. This was why most of them were peddlers who went around the country. Just like our Batangueños who sold anything and everything, reaching even until Mindanao. But if everybody is a peddler and nobody plants, then there is nothing to harvest. Who will buy? This was why some of them came to the Philippines as early as the 16th century. Can you imagine the Chinese then carrying their long sticks on their shoulders, balancing the baskets on two sides with cloth and other merchandise in them? Yes, peddler. And these were the matured traders who came to the Philippines. Another similarity between the Chinese and the Filipinos, especially the OFWs, is that we have close family ties and we both respect and love our elders. According to one of our grandfathers, his father died young and they grew up really poor. So during winter, they had only one cup of rice for the whole family, which they would wrap in a cloth and tie to the ceiling. Now, every meal, they'll boil the rice and just drink the water liquid, which we call And when there is no more they open the cloth up and let their mother eat the remaining pieces of rice. This was when he decided, my grandfather, as a 13-year-old, to come to the Philippines. He heard that in the big city, there were recruiters for cargadores in the boats. It was a chance for him to earn some money so he could buy food for his mother. Now, many boys like him went to apply as cargadores, and they went in the boat, loading and unloading anything and everything just to get paid. And even as children, they were made to carry sacks of copra that's 80 kilos, more than twice heavier than they are. And he, my grandfather, had to bear it just to be able to have a good future. The boat sailed to the Philippines, passing through Vietnam, Singapore, among the different cities, and the last port was Jolo in Sulu. And when he reached there, he decided to go down from the boat to try his luck. He heard that he might be able to earn some money there as a peddler. There were many peddlers then in Holo and the competition was stiff. So he decided to take a vinta and go to Zamboanga. And when he got there, it wasn't all roses. He couldn't speak the language and he was illiterate. Now people would throw stones at him and he learned to protect himself. There were also nice customers who bought from him as he walked from one barrio to another. After a few years, he decided to marry a Filipina. And instead of peddling, he now was able to put up a store with his savings. Time and again, he would send home money to his mother and his siblings in China. He even invited his younger brothers to come to the Philippines, but they did not like it here, so they went back. Now, he and his wife had two sons, and because he knew how difficult it is to be illiterate, he made sure that his sons became educated. He even spent money to send one of his sons to Manila for college. Do you see the commonality in values of the Chinese and our OFWs? That's why it was easier for them to come to the Philippines. It was due to the common values they shared with Pinoys. But one thing that Pinoys don't have is that they are savers. Why? Because for 3 months in a year, it would be winter in China, and if you don't have food, you die. Others cannot help you because they too will have to survive the winter. So another thing was that the soil was clayish. So if you want to eat, you need to have money to buy food. You cannot just plant. And they learned about saving money at a very early age. But when it comes to us, well, we have such fertile lands and rich natural resources in our country. We can just stick some plants into our garden and they just grow. They grow so much that we don't mind even if neighbors pass by and ask for some vegetables and fruits from us. We are talking about the 1900s and not about the present, okay? Now, but even now we have typhoons and rainy days, but they don't last for 3 months, right? So we get by. So today, I described to you half of the story of one of our grandfathers, and it's only the generation of our grandfathers. But how did the Chinoy become successful business owners? Is there even anything we can learn from them? We'll talk about this in our next episode as we continue with part 2 of our series, 3 Things We Can Learn from Successful Chinoy Business Owners. This is Mommy and your Mommy Negosyo saying be business-minded and see you in the next episode.